Hey, congratulations for making it to your mat today for some yin. Before we get started, as always, grab your stuff, get your shit together. So grab a mat. I always like to have blocks handy because you never know how you're going to want support. And a bolster, if you have neither of those things, something that resembles them. So books, towels, blankets, whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. Yeah. And what we're going to dig into today is our shoulders. And this is a reasonably long practice, and shoulders can be quite tight, so don't feel like you need to do the entire practice. You can just do like bits of it if you need to, just depending on what you need. Because you might find you get halfway through the practice and you're like, that is enough. Yeah, and that is totally okay. You've just got to do what your body's asking you. And if it says enough's enough, then enough's enough. Yeah. So let's start off in a toe squat. So tuck your toes under. I'll do this on the side, just so you can see. So toes come under, so you get length through the sole of your foot, and you come down and sit on your heels. If you're not interested in doing a toe squat today, because it's not really our focus is for the feet, you can just ditch it and you can sit down onto the top of your feet. That's fine too. Yeah. So lean your weight back, drop the weight into your heels, and we'll take a neck stretch to go with it, because I love to multitask. Take one arm up and over your head, hold on to the opposite ear. I don't mind which side you do first. Take your head across towards the raised arm, and then drop the opposite shoulder down. So in my case, I've raised my left arm up and over. I've dropped my head over towards the left-hand side, and just see if you can drop this right shoulder of yours away from your ear, just so you can feel a stretch down through the side of your neck. And you simply just use the weight of your arm to assist you into this one. Like, no yanking, don't get too excited. Just allow the sensations to be quite gentle. And the longer you stay here, the more you're going to feel it. If you hear a little bit of noise in the background, that's just Emma making some furniture. She walked in before with kind of a bit of a crazy look in her eye. She's got the table saw out, she's doing stuff. So if you hear it, that's what that is. Okay, take 2 more deep rounds of breath. Allow the right shoulder to get heavier. Allow the head to drop across in the opposite direction. And without too much fuss, release your top hand and then use it just to prop your head back up, and you get this really nice moment where one side of your neck feels longer than the other. And we'll swap it over. So opposite arm comes up and over, so the sun I'm using my right, reaches for the left ear, and then drop your left shoulder away from you. You might even like to take your fingertips down to the ground, like make it your own. Allow there to be little adjustments here, just so you can find something interesting. And you're not looking for 100% intensity. You're looking just for a pleasant amount of sensation. And then stretch to the side of your neck. And just breathe here for a little while. And if you feel comfortable to do so, you can close your eyes down. It's less distracting that way. And bring your awareness to the breath. And I know it's quite counterintuitive to bring your awareness to your breath. It's like trying to be aware of every time you blink, or trying to be aware of your stomach digesting food, right? Like, it's one of those functions in your body where it will automatically do it for you. You don't need to think about it. But just simply bring your awareness to the breath, and that's going to really benefit your body and calm you down. It'll help lower your blood pressure. It'll affect the vagal tone in your body, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll talk about the vagus nerve and how that affects us. For your last couple rounds of breath, allow the opposite shoulder just to get super heavy. Find that sweet spot. Yeah. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Unwrap the top hand. Prop your head back up. Feels a bit more even. And last one is interlace your hands behind your head and then draw your chin down towards your chest and just lengthen through the back of your neck. Yeah. It's like you want to look down and inspect your belly button. And check and see if you've got any lint in your belly button. Based on my experience with belly button lint, it's pretty much always blue. Yeah? Blue or like grey. Yeah. Let me know if you have something else different going on. But yeah. And maybe just look from side to side slowly. Just to feel out those couple little extra bits. Okay, come back through to center. Release the hands. You can even use your hands to pick your head back up because, you know, heads are pretty heavy. Pause, breathe in deeply, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, so drop your shoulders out of your ears, let your sit bones drop down towards the ground. Just a moment to buffer in between the shapes. Brief pause is just super nice for your body. Let's come into the second shape. Come around onto your hands and knees, and if you want to pad up your knees, go for it. Grab a blanket, pop that underneath, just so you got a little extra space. Two hands underneath your shoulders, and I like to tuck my toes here. I feel like I just feel a little bit more comfortable this way. Leave your hips where they are, and start to walk your hands towards the front of the room. My dog does this all the time. It's called puppy pose. It's called Annandale. And you just slide your arms forward. You can bring your forehead down towards the ground. Now, if you're blessed with some very strong, but perhaps not very mobile shoulders, you can always take blocks or bolster and pop them out. Actually, no, pop that in front of you, just like for your head. That can be really nice. You bring the ground closer towards you just so you have some more support. That can be nicer. If you happen to be more on the flexy side of things, you're more of a gummy bear, instead of placing a block underneath your head, you could put a block underneath your hands. You bring your forehead down towards the ground. You might even bring your chin and drop your chest down. Yeah? We're just going to stay here, not for very long, it's about 3 minutes. I'm going to come out of the pose because I can't watch the clock and do this shape at the same time. So you stay. I'll come to a seat. Just breathe. So this creates space across the front of your chest, across the front of your belly. A gentle, healthy level of compression across the back of your spine. And opens up into your underarms. Okay, settle in. Another 90 seconds or so. For a lot of us, this can feel really uncomfortable. Yeah? See if you can just sit with it. 90 seconds of discomfort. To help make yourself feel more steady, perhaps just bring your awareness back to your breath. Yeah? Slow yourself on down. Now the reason why breathing really slow and steady and being aware of it calms you down is because it activates your vagal nerve. So it's the biggest like cranial nerve that you have. And the word vagal, it comes from the Latin word, which means wandering. And that just describes the nerve's path through your body. So it starts right up in your head, in your dome, comes down through your face, down through the neck, down through like your abdomen, the chest, and then down towards like your belly. And this vagal nerve, it teams up with your parasympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic, which I often talk about, works on calming down your body. Your vagal nerve helps calm your mind down. So when you get stressed, when you get uncomfortable, you get anxious, this vagal nerve, vagal tone can help calm you down, like within the brain, yeah? I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Let's just take another 4 rounds of breath. Once you finish those 4 rounds of breath, you make your way on out. So a little core activation here is super nice, just to support your lower back. You press down into your hands. Yeah, just lift yourself back up. And like walk your hands all the way back. You'll sit on your feet, just shrug your shoulders, jiggle your head. Just a moment, yeah. Yeah, breathe for a moment. In yoga, we call this a rebound. You wait and listen to the echoes of the shape. Is how is it responding in your body? So this is the short-term effect. And then let's come into our next shape. You might like to keep your knees padded. Come back onto your hands and knees, and just for a moment, we'll take a cat and cow. Take an inhale, drop your belly down to the ground. Exhale, curl back up and towards yourself. Inhale, drop right down into the basement of your shoulders. So you drop your belly down, pull the chest forwards. Exhale, lift up more like it's in like the penthouse, right to the top level of your shoulders. Chin tucks, you go back in towards your belly button again. Take one more like that. Inhale, cow. Exhale. To your cat. Return to a neutral spine and we'll leave the left hand where it is. Take a deep breath in, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and think about spinning your chest towards the right. And exhale, thread right arm underneath the left. So now you turn your chest and your head towards the left hand side of the room. And I always like to readjust my left hand here just so I can draw my right arm a little bit further under. And I'll give you some options here. You might like to interlace left hand on top of your right hand and just give your right hand a little pull through. Yeah. You might feel a bit more of a stretch into the back of your shoulder that way. Or alternatively, keeping the right foot on the ground, you can pick up the left foot and step it out to the side. It's like a little outrigger on a canoe. Yeah. And that might be out in line with your left hip. If you have a bit more space in the old hamstrings, you might walk that a little bit further towards your right hand, if it's available. And if you do have the space, maybe right hand, just over the top of your foot. You lean the body back towards the right hand side of the room, but you plug down into the left foot, spin the chest towards the left, and then maybe even left arm threads behind the right. And you're like, what? Yeah. New choose. Feel free to explore the shape, fidget around. Just like before, you stay. I'll come out. I've already done this. And I'll watch the clock just so I don't leave you being uneven on your sides. Because no, we don't want to accentuate any lopsidedness. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the vagus nerve. I've got some notes here. I always like to take notes. I'm very forgetful. And I take information so slow. So I have some notes here. So, this vagus nerve, because it runs from your head all the way down to essentially your gut, has a huge role in how we digest things and how our digestion affects our mental health and vice versa. Because to go from the head down to the gut, you also have to pass through the neck. It really affects how we vocalize, so it has a huge role in us being able to make sound. And talking, laughing, singing also really positively affect this like vagal tone in our body, which is kind of cool, right? Another area that it kind of go past is the heart. I'm not really too sure how that affects that. I read about it. It was a little over my depth, but it has a huge role. So from really anything I learned about the human body, everything affects everything else. It's never just like, you know, the hand is isolated or the shoulder is isolated. Everything is working together. It's just like this whole ecosystem. And if something goes out of balance, it can really kind of send everything else out of whack. So we got to think of our body as being like a whole ecosystem, a whole, not just separate little parts. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you one more minute here. So remember to breathe slow and steady. Let's work on creating this really nice, healthy and positive vagal tone. Understanding that it doesn't just affect our body, also affects our mind and has this huge like kind of flow-on effect, has this domino effect. Last 4 rounds of breath. When you're ready, start coming out the same way that you came in. So if you've wrapped an arm back around behind you, take that back out, ground it onto the mat. Step the left foot in. Come back up. Yeah, you can reach your right arm back up towards the ceiling, open back out. Okay. And then take 2 hands down to the ground. Take a few rounds of cat and cow, just to neutralize the spine. Breathing in to drop belly. Exhaling out to curl out nice and high. Return to a neutral spine. Make sure you get your stuff out of the way and do the next side. Left hand comes down towards the ground. Right hand comes down towards the ground. Your left arm, your actual left arm, lifts up towards the ceiling, broaden your chest. Exhale, left arm threads underneath your right one, and you just do something really similar to what you did on the first side. So you might take right hand to the left hand and pull that even further through. The left hand goes to the right, but the entire rest of your body just gently leans in towards the left. Perhaps pick up your right foot. Step out to the side. Left hand may reach for the right foot, and right arm might just tuck back around behind you. If you have long arms, you might tuck your fingertips in towards the left hip crease. I do not. Your arm can just like hang back behind you, like whatever works. I know I say this every week, but you just gotta do what works for you. You gotta do what works for your body. We have a little while here. Feels okay, close your eyes. You notice yourself lost in thought, you bring yourself back, you come back to the breath. Maybe even lengthening your exhale so it's a little bit longer than your inhale. Aware of distractions that are around you, because distractions, they're never going to go away. Just aware of them, and when your mind starts to grip onto them, like a little vice grip, see if you can just start to lessen that grip, yeah? Become a little less fixated on it, and release. Just over halfway. If you need to make any adjustments, go for it. Got about another 6 rounds of breath. See if you can slow them down and count them out. Allow your head to get heavier, you allow your shoulders to get heavier. Ready. Slowly, think about it. Come out the same way that you came in. Releasing binds, stepping feet back in, coming back. Maybe you might like to do some cat and cows. You might like just to sit on your heels for a sec. Yeah. Eventually though, we are going to meet each other lying face down, no belly. So if you want to already go there, go for it. Yeah, I love lying down like this. So good. You can make it like a little pillow for your head with your hands, a little cushion. And we will come into, from here, Abigail's favorite shape, open wing. Now it's your choice. You can either extend your arm long, you can bend up your elbow, or you can kind of do something in between. Just have a little bit of exploration, or if you know which one you feel like is more useful for your body, then do that one, yeah? Today, I'm gonna lengthen my arm up. That's the one I dislike most. Lovely. And bend up your right elbow, point it up towards the ceiling. We're gonna roll onto the left-hand side. So, right knee might even lie on the side of your leg, like that's totally fine. You may have more opening here. You might roll a little further through and place your right foot down towards the ground. You can use your right hand to actively push into the ground and roll yourself further onto your left-hand side. And it is completely okay to actually put some effort into this with your right hand. I think there's sometimes this misconception in yin that you can't put any effort in. Sometimes you do need just like a little bit of stability and effort for you to find the shape. Either way, find something uncomfortable. Pleasantly uncomfortable, I should say. Allow yourself just to dig in. If you would like to go a little bit deeper, you always have the option. Maybe the right arm threads back behind you again. You can tuck that underneath. You might even shift your hips a little bit more towards the left and then place your left foot down. Then both knees up towards the ceiling. It's pretty intense for my body today. I'm not feeling very well, so I'm going to lengthen my leg back out. Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should. Notice your right shoulder might start creeping up in towards your ear. And drop your shoulder back down away so you lengthen through both sides of your neck. Now it's interesting to know if you come into this shape and you've been here for a little while and you start to get pins and needles, it means it is time to come out. So just slowly roll yourself back onto your belly. If you're feeling good, that's okay, you can stay. But if you do have a little bit of pins and needles, I know in this moment, slowly come out. Make yourself a little cushion. And it means you just get an extra like minute or so of rest here. Our bodies are not this static linear things, so they're not always going to perform at 100%. Just depends on how you feel. Everyone's out with it. Their power tools today. Saws, lawnmowers. There are always going to be distractions. I always laugh to myself in my own practice. I'm like, oh, what are the distractions going to be today? Are they going to be external distractions like people? I received 5 phone calls yesterday when I was meditating. I should have put my phone on airplane mode. I didn't. I got the 5 Finkles. So they're external stuff, but sometimes it's just internal distractions, yeah? Your mind is telling you stories. Just notice and smile and be like, okay, this is what I'm working with today. And that brings us to the end, or stay here in this shape. So there's going to be a sense of being a little bit fragile as you come out. So slowly roll your way back in. Use your right hand to slow you down. Yep. Slowly, slowly. Yeah. Make yourself a little cushion, wiggle your bum from side to side. And don't rush a good thing. I find coming out of these shapes is super enjoyable. Yeah. Give your body a moment, please. Our minds move very quickly. Our bodies, they don't move quite so quick. They're much more dense. Yeah. They need time. Take a deep round of breath. Feel your lungs not just pull down, but feel them make space in the sides of the ribs and feel them pull out. Yeah, it's like a full, deep belly diaphragm breath. So it's 360 expansion. Exhale and empty like a balloon, just collapsing in on itself. And you're ready. I'm just laughing at the soul. You're ready. We take the other side. So right arm stretches long. It might bend. Do something similar to the first side. Doesn't have to be absolutely the same. Similar. Bend up your left elbow. Right cheek comes down to the ground. You might even, if your head doesn't get to the ground, don't give yourself a hard time about it. Yeah. Oh, make yourself a cushion and then come into it. Oh. A cushion is underrated here. Maybe you add the left arm in. You've got about 4.5 minutes here, so slowly adding stuff in. I kind of think of this process as like baking a cake. You've got to add things in and you've got to do it in the right order and at the right time, otherwise it's not going to go very well. It's going to come out. Please let yourself stay. Like, could you imagine if you were trying to make a nice, fluffy, delicious cake and you just went ahead and you just like dumped it all in a bowl. You got your wooden spoon, you just like mix it up, dump it in the cake pan and throw it in the oven. I don't know, I don't think it's gonna go very well. I suppose it depends on what kind of cake it is. Adding things in, bit by bit. Intensity when you feel like you have room for it. And if it does just get too much, it gets too spicy, make your way out. No dramas. Well over halfway, you've got to add another, I don't know, 75 seconds. Is there any way that you could adjust yourself and make yourself more comfy? Or is there anywhere that's hanging on that just isn't necessary. So it might just be letting your left shoulder move away from your left ear. Yeah, how's that feel? Wow. Sometimes you didn't even realize your shoulder was plugged into your ear until you moved it back out of it. Yeah. And sometimes you just simply need to be reminded of these things. To scan through the body and check for where it's hanging on and let it relax. Right. Take about another 3 rounds of breath. And come out nice and slow. Do whatever you need to do, whatever feels comfortable. Yeah, big sigh, we'll wiggle your tail. Okay, one more shoulder stretch. One more shoulder stretch. Yeah, una más. Okay, shift your bum over to one side, swing your legs around. If you want to stick up something underneath your bum, go for it. And you can either just take an easy cross leg or you can find your box pose. And this is just, once again, it's just a multitasking thing. So if you prefer to tuck your legs underneath you, you can. It's just when you do this, you get a little extra stretch down through the outsides of your hips, which can be nice, right? So flex your feet, see if you can walk them out kind of wide, and see if the knees can be over the top of your heels. So walk the shins forward, wiggle your bum back. You sit up and lay back. Yeah, okay. I'll add the last shoulder stretch in. Start the timer. I like this shape, so I could stay here for a while. I get overexcited. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling, and then take your hand down towards your neck. You might even just like to snuggle your hand down towards the space in between your shoulder blades. Right up, comes up and over, and you give your arm a little nudge in between, like behind your head. Now what can happen here, and it's happening to you right now, yeah, you look in the side mirror, you're like, oh, I see the ribs start to flare out, right? So a little core activation, bend back in, and then press your hand back into your left forearm. Okay. And you pause here. Feel like a little more. The right arm reaches out, internally rotates, and then see if you can interlace your hands, yeah, behind your back. Doesn't always happen. It's okay. You look concerned. Don't worry, it's okay. You can either A, go back to where you were, a little tactical retreat. B, you could hold onto a strap, which I didn't give you. Oh, you found a glove, very good. Okay, if you don't have a strap, you can grab anything that resembles a strap. Hand towel, that weird glove that you're holding onto there. Yeah, use anything. Okay. For a lot of us, this is going to be a lot. Yeah. Stay with it. Lean your head back, draw your elbows in towards that midline, that vertical line of your spine, so you can draw the elbows towards it, that midline. And if you want, if you're feeling nothing, maybe fold forwards. Personally, in my body, some days it feels good, some days it does not. I find it just offers you more of a hip stretch. If you're wanting more of a hip stretch, go for it. You do any up, yeah, that's very good. Do any, that's fine. Totally up to you. And we're gonna stay for another 90 seconds. Being completely okay with the fact that double bind may not be more useful than a single bind. I find it has a different effect. It feels very different in my body to go from 1 to 2. Just figure out in your own body like, what actually feels like it's working. Sometimes doing less allows you to, that's a weird sentence. Sometimes doing less allows you to do more. There we go. Last 6 rounds of breath. Make it slow and steady, and like I said at the start of class, maybe slowing down your exhale so it's longer than your inhale, just to really work with that positive vagal tone. When you're ready, untangle your arms. If you've got some sort of hip stretch situation going, notice which way you have it first. So I have my left one in closer, my right one further away. Note that, yeah. Maybe rinse your knees from side to side. Yeah, do whatever you need to. You can never stress that enough. Then also, you're at home, so like you're not distracting anyone. You can do whatever you need to do, yeah? If you're like, Nikki, I don't really need this stretch. That's cool, don't do it. Simple as that. Okay. Other side. Right knee in first, left leg in front, or the other way around if that's what you did. Knees kind of on top of your heels. Toes flex in so the soles of your feet are flat. Yeah, if you point your toes, you're not gonna feel anything. Like, it might make you feel like you're a boss and you're good at this, but like you're not really gonna get a stretch. Just flex your feet. Yeah, press down into your pinky toes. Sit up tall, and we do the other side. Right arm comes up. Reach towards your neck or keep sliding back. Sliding your hands in between your 2 shoulder blades. Left arm up and over. You guide the elbow in first, yeah? Lean your head back and then just tuck your ribs back in. Got a little loud here. So we're getting a nice shoulder stretch, featuring a hip stretch. If doubling up the bind feels useful, go for it. If feeling folding forwards is useful, go for it. not if, it's when. Gently bring it back. Back to sensations, back to your breath, back to what you're doing. Notice the distractions and you just get less interested in them. And allowing the mind to be here and now. With what you're doing, that's advanced practice, right? Not just being mentally checked out or someplace else and physically here, but mentally MIA. Being in the shape, physically and mentally. That's advanced. Last little while here. 6 rounds of breath. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. If you want to stay longer, you know how I feel about these things. Make your way out when you're ready. Leaning back, untangle your legs. Okay, you're gonna like this next bit, Abby. Yeah. Has nothing to do with your shoulders. Shoulders, look, they're super complicated. They're quite structurally, like with the bones, they're quite flimsy. It's kind of like a teacup and saucer situation. Your shoulder, like your rotator cuff here, or like the shoulder is like teacup and saucer, right? One sits on top of the other, and then it's the muscles that wrap around them that create this stability. It's not from the bones, it's from the muscles. So we stretch them out. Now time, I think, just to leave them be. Yeah. I want to finish up with a forward fold because it's super calming for your nervous system. If you're still sitting up on something comfy, stay there. You might grab your bolster, a block, and pop it over the top of your legs, under your legs. Be creative. Take a deep breath in, sit up tall, like you're in the first grade and the teachers walked in. Sit up nice and tall. Allow your feet to relax. And exhale, balance towards yourself. We're just gonna be here for a couple minutes. No need to grab anything. Allow the hands just to drop and you can gently round through the spine. Yeah. And yes, this is a hamstring stretch, but see if you can just keep your awareness with the shoulders and notice how they may feel a little bit more spacious. They might feel a bit warm. There's a lot of sensation there. The entire shoulder joint complex is all filled with synovial fluid. So the joint capsule itself has this like extra WD-40 type substance in there, just allowing it to move and glide nicely. As you settle in, you might like to take yourself a little deeper into the stretch. We'll stay for another minute. Perhaps allow yourself to be a little less heavy-handed in your approach, allow there to be less effort. Shoulders soft, head heavy. Your belly is relaxed. Feet are relaxed. And that's our last shape of the practice. So if time permits, you might like to come down to lie flat in Shavasana for a little while. Just enjoying the rebound of the shapes. Maybe popping a blanket on, making yourself nice and cozy. If time does not permit, maybe just sit like I am for a moment. Take some deep rounds of breath. And just be really grateful that you showed up on your mat, you took the time out of your day. I know it can be difficult. So just be grateful. Thank yourself. And then in time you can move on into the rest of your day. Namaste.